Welcome back to the Parenting Wisdom Podcast. I'm so glad you're here today because I want to talk about something that I know many of us are struggling with. And that's the cycle of losing our patience, yelling at our kids, feeling guilty afterwards, and wondering why nothing is really changing. Maybe this sounds familiar to you. You ask your child to do something once, twice, maybe 4 or 5 times, and they're still not listening to you. You try to stay calm, but inside you're boiling. Eventually, you snap, you yell, you lose your control, and then almost immediately the guilt sets in. You tell yourself, I should have handled this better. I need to be more patient. I shouldn't have yelled. Does that sound familiar? And what do most parenting experts tell us to do about that in the moment? They say we need to regulate ourselves. We need to take a deep breath. We need to calm down. We need to be more patient. And yes, staying calm is important, but I want to offer you a different perspective today. One that I think goes much deeper and actually changes the root of the problem, not just the surface behavior. Because here's the truth. You're not yelling because you're an impatient person. You're yelling because your child is just not listening. And that's incredibly frustrating and totally valid. If anyone in your life ignored your voice, dismissed what you're saying, and refused to follow through, you'd probably get upset too. So, no, you're not a bad parent because you get frustrated. You're just a human, and your emotional reaction makes sense. But here's the loop I want to break. Kids don't listen, you get frustrated, you yell, you feel guilty, you disconnect from your child, and your child listens even less. And it goes on and on. So, what's at the root of this? What I've come to realize is that this cycle is not just about emotional regulation, it's about authority. More specifically, it's about embodied authority. Let's unpack that. When I say embodied authority, I'm not talking about being harsh or controlling. I'm talking about the energy you carry as a parent that says, I've got this, I know who I am, I know what I expect. I'm calm, I'm clear, and I'm in charge. When you embody your authority, you don't need scripts. You don't need to memorize a perfect sentence to get your child to listen because you believe deeply that you are someone worth listening to. And that belief comes across in how you move, how you speak, and how you hold space. It comes across in the tone of your voice, in your posture, in your consistency. And your kids pick up on that, whether you realize that or not. Now, let me give you a few practical ways to begin embodying your authority. First of all, watch your body language and tone. There is a big difference between asking your child to brush their teeth, sounding unsure, rushed, or afraid of pushback, versus calmly and confidently saying, It's time to brush your teeth now. Because here's something that's really important to understand. Every time you yell, you lose a little bit of your authority. When your kids see you lose control of your own emotions, they trust you less. They think if mom can't handle herself, how can she handle me? And over time, that erodes respect and makes listening less likely, not more. The second thing is you need to follow through on your word. If you say something is going to happen, it has to happen. If you tell your child that there's going to be a consequence and then backtrack because you feel bad or want to avoid conflict, your authority takes a hit. Kids need to know that your word means something. It builds trust, it creates safety, it helps them take you seriously. The third way to embody your authority is to stop fearing boundaries. So many parents feel guilty about setting limits. They think they're suppressing their child's freedom or individuality. But here's the truth. Yes, your child came into this world whole and good. But like any other human being, they also came with selfishness, impulsivity, and immaturity. That's not a flaw, that's just their developmental stage. Your job is not to mold your child into something else. It's to help them grow into who they already have the potential to become. And boundaries are exactly the way to do that. Boundaries teach our children how to live in relationship with others, how to manage themselves, and how to thrive in the real world. They don't limit your child's growth. They create a structure that allows growth to happen. The fourth way to embody your authority, Let your boundaries flow from your values. When your expectations come from what truly matters to you, like kindness, health, or respect, your whole life aligns with those values. If you value health, for example, it's not just that you tell your kid to eat better, you model it, you stock your home accordingly, you live by it. And when kids see that consistency, they understand your boundaries not as rules, but as part of what your family stands for. That clarity reduces conflict because they're not just following orders, they're living with a clear, value driven culture of the house. And here's one last note. Because yes, we're human. You will lose your patience sometimes. You will yell once in a while, and that's okay as long as it's rare. Because when yelling is rare, it actually means something. It has weight, it gets attention. But when you're yelling all the time, it just becomes background noise. It loses its impact and you lose your credibility. If you do lose your cool, and it will happen once in a while, own it, apologize, show your kids that even parents are growing and learning. That builds real connection and it reinforces your leadership, not undermines it. So let me leave you with this. Don't just focus on staying calm, focus on embodying your authority. When you do that, your kids will listen more, you will yell less, and your home will feel more grounded, connected, and peaceful. And if this message speaks to you, I've created a free resource that takes this even deeper. It's a PDF called From Chaos to Calm, and inside I will walk you through the 3 essential mindset shifts that you need in order to start embodying your authority. You'll also get a short video from me to help you apply it right away in your parenting. You can download it at efratamira.com/calmparent. Again, that's efratamira.com/calmparent. It's totally free. It's a gift from me to you. You've got this, mama. Thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you next time.